Corey, 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 Corey. Michael Myers hardly in the story. Corey accidentally killed a kid. The internet is up in arms because Michael Myers had his movie taken away by Corey. The horror community is up in arms over the new Halloween movie, third in the trilogy, the new trilogy, the reboot trilogy, because Michael Myers has had his movie taken away by Corey Cunningham. This is going to be my thoughts on the movie. It will contain spoilers, of course, so if you haven't seen the movie and I spoil it for you, if you do happen to listen to this, don't blame me. My initial thoughts when I watched the film is I thought it was okay. It's not the best rendition of Michael Myers at all, but it did have some good points to it. And another thing is, if this movie wasn't a Halloween movie and was a movie on its own about a killer called Corey and his journey into becoming a serial killer, and was released by a studio, say like A24, people would be all over this, like, oh, what an amazing slasher, this is great, just what the slasher genre needed. But because because people are expecting a big climax to the Laurie Strode Michael Myers saga, which was advertised apparently. I didn't watch the trailers, but in the trailers it depicted a final battle between Michael and Laurie. They do have a final battle at the climax of this movie, but it is very underwhelming, I must say. But yeah, I thought the film was okay for what it was. It's very strange. And it does differ from what we were expecting. And I can see why people are mad, and I can see why a lot of horror fans and Michael Myers fans are going to be highly disappointed. It's a long cry away from the Michael that we're used to. Even Halloween Kills is a lot better in my opinion. I really enjoyed that movie. I know it had some cringeworthy stuff like the whole townspeople being really annoying and idiotic and screaming "evil dies tonight," and that was quite annoying, but it did add to it and it made you root for Michael more because the townspeople were so annoying. So it was like, yeah, Michael, go kill these motherfuckers, like go hack them up and slash them. And the kills were brutal in Halloween Kills. I think Halloween Kills is much better than this Halloween Ends movie, but still, it had its good points, it had its lows, it had its highs, had its in-between moments. Some of the kills were rather inventive. I mean, there's one particular kill in the movie where he kills a disc jockey, and it's quite gruesome. He dispatches him in gruesome fashion, I must say. I quite enjoyed that part of the movie. The teaming up of Michael Myers and Corey when they become a team and kill together, which is like two kills, I think. Yeah, the first kill where they kill the nurse who's having an affair with the doctor, and they kill the doctor as well. It was a good kill. Corey had a bag over the doctor's head and was like stabbing the fuck out of him. It was a good kill to watch. Then Michael sort of knifed the nurse and pinned her to the wall, kind of resembling what he did in the original John Carpenter movie. I thought the whole double team thing was a bit cheesy. And another thing, like, I don't want to rant on this movie because I didn't think it was that bad, and I can see why people are up in arms about it and mad about it, especially huge Michael Myers and Halloween fans. Must have been a big letdown. I wasn't expecting the movie to be that great. Even I thought for sure they'd stick to the whole concept of it being the final battle between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. I was definitely thought that's what it would be. But I wasn't expecting much from that because the story for Halloween Kills wasn't that great. 2018's Halloween was good. I thought Halloween Kills personally was really good because it depicted Michael in a brutal sense, and he was almost had his supernatural elements brought back to the table. And I think Halloween Kills works a lot better than this movie because it is a better Michael Myers movie. Let's face it, this isn't a Michael Myers movie. This is a Corey Cunningham movie. They completely threw this out of left field. Apparently there was some rumours about them focusing heavily on a new character. I didn't read into that. I just assumed I assumed it would carry on the same night. So Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, it progresses throughout the same Halloween night in 2018. However, this film jumps forward to 2019 at the beginning of the movie and then present time. I thought for sure with Halloween Ends they'd just carry on from Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills and continue the same night and we would get Michael coming back and taking out more people and more of the townsfolk trying to get rid of Michael and dispatch him. All I can say is this trilogy is actually over, because they did end it definitively. I will say that I didn't like the ending, and I'm in complete support of Michael. Like, it's a slasher icon, so I don't want to sound sinister, but when you watch these movies as a fan, you kind of root for the killer because they're so iconic and the kills are so entertaining and brutal, so you do end up rooting for Michael Myers. I did in Kills anyway. I was like, come on, Michael, dispatch these idiots. And I enjoyed Halloween Kills. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it for what it was. This movie, not so much. I gave it like a 3. Yeah, I gave it a 3. I thought it was very original. It's weird because I was disappointed because Michael Myers was depicted badly in this film and a little bit weaker than usual. But I also respected it because they did something different. It's like this 40 years ago, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was released, and that was when the creators like John Carpenter and whatnot producing the movie were going to take it in a different direction and have Halloween as an anthology series. It was badly received at the time. People hated it. Where's Michael Myers, they said. So for the next film, the 4th one, The Return of Michael Myers, obviously it's in the title, they brought Michael Myers back on due to popular demand, which is fine because there's been some okay movies since that. But at the time, Halloween Season of the Witch was badly received because it was something different and out of left field, and it was just badly received. But now, 40 years later, people love it. The majority of Halloween fans just see it as another part of the Halloween canon, and they really, they enjoy it and they praise it. And I think that'll happen with Halloween Ends. I think, like, give it 20, 30 years, maybe 20, people will just accept it. There'll be another Halloween reboot out by then. I guarantee you, they're saying Halloween Ends, but there'll be a reboot within the next 5 to 10 years. Someone will reboot it because the studio know how much money they can make off it. So they'll have, like, dollar signs in their eyes, and they'll commission another series. God knows what direction they'll take it in after this, because they definitively do destroy Michael. They may have to completely remake it, just do a remake or a random story within one of the timelines. But yeah, all these people complained about Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2. I mean, they're looking pretty good now. They're looking like good depictions of Michael now this Halloween Ends has dropped, which I haven't got a problem with. I thought the movie was okay, like I keep saying. I didn't enjoy it particularly because I wanted to see more Michael. I wanted Michael and Laurie to have a massive showdown. There should have at least been about a 30-minute showdown between the two, very brutal and whatnot. And the film does clock in at nearly 2 hours. I mean, I've got it pulled up on Letterboxd. It's 111 minutes. So, just under 2 hours. You would have thought they could have fitted a bit more in, but no, Michael and Laurie just whimper out. They have a little scuffle at the end of the movie, and Laurie, she ties him to a table, drops a refrigerator on him, slits his wrists, his throat. Then they sort of crucify him to some degree. They don't literally crucify him like Jesus was crucified, but they put him on a car and they parade him around town, and then they go throw him into a junkyard car crusher. And that is one good special effect in the film. You see Michael's body get crumpled and completely disposed of in this metal grinder, and you see his bones crack out, and it's quite brutal. Would have been good if they'd have pulled Laurie into the metal grinder. That'd have been pretty cool. I was hoping in the whole film that Michael would have just dispatched the whole town and gone away, just like, yeah, I killed everybody, and left it a wasteland. That didn't happen. They went with Corey. The film starts off with Corey. He's a young guy in his 20s, I think it is. It's 1 year later from Halloween Kills, so it's 2019 in the timeline. He goes to babysit this kid. The parents go out. They leave Corey in charge. He's watching John Carpenter's The Thing on the TV with the kid. The boy starts making fun of him and winds him up and teases him, and ends up locking Corey in a confined attic space. Corey's panicking. The parents are pulling up at the driveway. They go into the house. Corey kicks the door open, and then as the parents come into the house, you see the kid drop. So that Corey obviously kicked the door open whilst the kid was up against it. The kid flew over the banister and dropped like several feet and just dies. He just, he's gone. He crumples. You see his like head smash, and like It's not the most brutal kill I've seen, but it was quite shocking. I thought, Jesus Christ, they've killed a kid already within like the first 10 minutes of the film, and then you get the credits, which was quite good with the pumpkin morphing. They have the pumpkin like morphing into a different expression as a little animation with the credits, which looked very good. And then we just get into the story, and it's basically about this Corey guy. He's been, the town have shunned him because he accidentally killed a kid, not his fault, but and then he ends up getting bullied by these obnoxious teens who are just absolute douches. You would just kick the shit out of them, to be fair. You would just shout at them back. You know, you wouldn't take that shit like Corey did. He ends up falling in love, getting introduced, should I say, to Jamie Lee Curtis's, Laurie Strode's character's granddaughter Alison, and they end up forming a relationship, and they go out to a party. You know, they party it up. He leaves the party after a confrontation with the boy's mother who's in the bar. Then these kids pull up and start bullying him. They toss him over. He tries to fight back, but they manage to get the upper hand, and they toss him over a bridge. And then he finds a tunnel near where a hobo's living, and he goes into the tunnel and he encounters Michael Myers, and Michael picks him up, and Michael's all frail and weak looking, a far cry from what he was depicted as in Halloween Kills. And Michael looks into his eyes and sees all the pain and what Corey's been through and whatnot, and decides not to kill him. Corey leaves the tunnel, and Corey's got a new edge to him, and he starts basically killing, and Michael ends up helping him with some of the kills. Then we get to the climax of the film, which I talked about a few moments ago with Laurie and Michael, the sort of 5-minute climax of the movie. But yeah, this is the Corey movie. Corey has stolen Michael's movie. I like the Corey character. I thought it was quite good exploration into the psyche and how someone could possibly become a serial killer. I thought that was interesting. As a Michael Myers movie, I thought it was kind of bad because they should have delivered. The creators basically set themselves up for failure because they advertised the movie as being the final battle between, you know, Halloween Ends. It's going to be on the same night as Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, but they ended up throwing something completely different into the mix with this Corey character, and they focused the entire movie on him. They may as well have called it Halloween Corey. In fact, they actually should have called it Halloween Corey. I can see why people are pissed off. It's a bit of a letdown. I thought the movie as a movie was fine, and I think, like I say, in 20 years it'll be a cult classic. People will be like, oh, there's more Halloween movies out now that have done it justice, perhaps, or whether someone might come along and wreck it again, I don't know. But, you know, the trilogy's been okay. 2018 was good. Halloween Kills was good, apart from some of the cringeworthy moments, but the kills were brutal, and Michael was one of Michael's best depictions in Kills. Halloween Ends was an interesting movie. It's not what it should have been. It should have been a final confrontation, a big confrontation and an explosion between Michael and Laurie. It should have been Michael, you know, getting brutal kills in and working by himself, not with his Corey character. To be fair, they could have even done this as a spin-off, like later on. They could have perhaps filmed this as well and released it in a year's time, after, you know, as like an in-between, like a spin-off, like they do with other TV shows and films. They do spin-offs and different stories in that universe. They could have done this with the whole Corey thing, but no, they decided to dedicate the whole movie to him, and that's why people are let down, and I understand that. But it's still quite funny because the movie's not that bad. If a studio, like I said, if a studio like A24 released this movie and called it Corey or whatever, and it didn't have Michael in it, it had a different serial killer in it. So in this story, it's got someone who kind of resembles Michael Myers, if you will, but he was a different killer, and he sort of influences the character of Corey, and it was its own thing, and it was just called Corey or what have you, or something different. It would have been really well received and people would have loved it, but because it was a big letdown and a far cry from what Halloween Ends should have been, it's created a lot of disappointment. But yeah, give it some time, and I think people will come round on this. I didn't mind it first time. I thought it was a fairly good movie. It was a bit crappy and it was a bit of a letdown. I'd have rather have seen a menacing depiction of Michael Myers like in Kills, and I was, you know, when Kills ended and I knew they were making this a trilogy, I was anticipating seeing Michael get up to more antics, which he did in the previous film. I was so looking forward to it. So I did find this film a letdown, but as a movie on its own, I think it's fairly good. It's got some interesting concepts to do with killer origins, and the acting's pretty good. Some of the decisions in the film are questionable. for sure. But overall, I thought it was a fairly good film, and yeah, I think it'll become a classic eventually, possibly. A lot of people are saying Resurrection's not the worst film anymore. I've not watched Resurrection for about 3 or 4 years, but I can safely say Resurrection is the worst movie in my opinion. I think Halloween Ends was a lot better than Halloween Resurrection. That's pretty much my thoughts on Halloween Ends anyway. I thought I'd do a little mini episode of the podcast. Going to be doing some things over the next couple of weeks. When I finally see Terrifier 2, I want to do a review or a my thoughts video on that when I've watched the movie. Yeah, that's about it. So there's my thoughts on Halloween Corey. Corey. Michael Myers hardly in the story. Corey accidentally killed a kid. The internet is up in arms because Michael Myers had his movie taken away by Corey.